everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our virtual field trip to a pig farm. Today we are visiting Kaden and Emily Roush. And before we go back to the farm, I'm going to introduce a few people. Dan Toland with Wilt PR. Teachers, you probably recognize him. He's helped get everything ready and going on the tech end, so we appreciate that help. We have 8 schools today, well, I guess 7, I think. So almost 190 students. And when I say your school name, if everybody can give a big wave and a hello to our farmers. Let's start with Ashley Clark's class from William Allen White School in Emporia, Kansas. Cindy Clark's class from Jefferson Elementary in Iola, Kansas. Heather Garcia's class from Rossville Grade School in Rossville, Kansas. Susie Vermitten and Katina Gross's classes from Valley Heights Elementary in Waterville. Jill Sowers' class from Alta Brown Elementary in Garden City, Kansas. Heather Hawkins' class from Andover Central Middle School in Andover. And did we have Deer Creek Lamont on, Dan? Dan, did Deer Creek Lamont get connected?
They're on, but we're not hearing any audio or seeing any video from them, so I'm not sure if they can hear us or see us or not. If they are, feel free to give us a hello in the chat window.
Okay, and they are from Lamont, Oklahoma. All right, we're gonna have you watch just a short clip from Kaden and Emily's farm, and then we're gonna go back to them. Hey, Dan, you might double check with the schools if they're hearing us okay. We've got one of the schools that's having a little trouble hearing us. So can we maybe do a sound check with the schools quick?
Sure. Which school was having the issue with us hearing? Do you know which one it was?
Valley Heights is having a little trouble.
All right. Valley Heights, are you having issues hearing us? Are you there?
Now I can hear.
Okay. Okay. It might have been an issue just with the video. Not sure it was set up for you to be able to share it, for you to hear it. But let us know via chat if you're having more issues or not, so we can follow up. All right.
Are all the other classrooms hearing us okay?
We're hearing a little bit, but not making out words.
I see black. Oh.
Okay. I'm not sure what the issue would be. It might be connectivity on your end. It might be a little quiet. I'm not sure what the issue would be there. So if anybody else is having issues, please be sure to type it into the chat window as well. We'll see if it improves as we go on. If not, let us know in the chat, okay?
Oh, that pig is stuck.
right. Hi, Kaden and Emily.
Hi guys, welcome to our farm. Yes, welcome to our farm.
Thank you for having us today. We're excited to learn about your pigs. Starting out, could you tell us a little bit about yourselves, where your farm is located, and the history of your farm?
Sure, I can do that, Kim. First of all, this is Emily. I'm Kaden. Nice to meet everybody. Our farm is located in Lebanon, Kansas. We actually have two farms. I'll cover that in a little bit. A fun fact is that Lebanon, Kansas is the geographical center of the continental United States. So just tuck that away into your fun fact brain. So anyways, the farm that you guys just got done seeing on the video is what we like to call our new farm. My wife and I just built that when we moved back here after we went to college. What we do there is raise pigs from, we breed pigs, we farrow them, and then we raise them all the way up to market, and we sell those pigs that eventually end up in grocery stores. And just recently, we started a retail portion where we are able to sell our own meat. So if somebody wanted some bacon or pork chops from us, we can sell that to them. Now, the other farm, the one that we're videotaping in today, we call Double R Genetics, and this is where we raise pigs for kids to show at the county fair. So this farm, we'll breed them, we'll farrow, and then we'll sell the baby pigs at about 60 to 70 pounds, where 4-H'ers and FFA kids can take them home and feed them up for a project to later exhibit at their county fair. So a little bit about our history. I grew up with pigs. My dad and grandpa had them back in the 60s and 70s. They continued in them until we were able to move back here, and we kind of took over the operation. So it's been in my family for a very long time, and we're happy to continue the tradition. So that's just a little bit of background about what we've got going here, Kim.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the pigs that we're seeing right now in this barn?
Sure. So the pigs you're seeing in the barn here are sows with babies. So you'll see the black sow with the black babies to your left. That sow we call a Berkshire. That's her breed type. And her babies are purebred Berkshire babies. They are about 25 to 28 days old and getting ready to be weaned. And then this other litter that we have right next to her is actually just a couple days old. I believe they were born Friday morning. And this is what we call a crossbred sow. So she just has a mix of a lot of different breeds in her. So the other things I want to tell you about here, the sows are in farrowing crates. So those farrowing crates kind of, they keep the sow from potentially crushing her babies or laying on them. So really the crate's design is to help out the livelihood of the baby pigs. You see the one that Jody's viewed in on right now, that sow is close to 500 pounds, and those babies are only a couple pounds in size right now. So it's very easy for the mother to lose track of the babies, but that crate and the design of what you're looking at there allows for segregation from the babies and the mother, and creates a lot better chance of having a good life for those young pigs.
And how many piglets do they have at a time on average?
So on average, most sows will have between 10 to 13 babies born live. You'll see both of these litters that we're looking at right now are a little bit smaller than that. That just had to do with some environmental issues when we were getting them bred last fall. So these guys are below the normal average, but normal average is between 10 and 13.
And then how many times a year do they have piglets?
So sows in general can farrow about 2.5 times a year. All right. So a sow's gestation length or a female pig's gestation length, or the amount of time that they actually carry a litter, is 114 days. Or the easier way to remember that is 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. So you have the time that she's carrying the litter, then she farrows. At this farm, we generally wean the pigs around 28 days old. After that, it's a matter of a few days before that sow is ready to be mated again, and then it starts the whole process over again.
And where do the piglets go when they are weaned from their mother?
So after we wean them from their mother, we have a building or a room we call a nursery. In that room, we turn the temperature way up compared to what it is in here. So in our farrowing barn, we like to keep the temperatures cooler because it keeps the sows more comfortable. But once we take the baby pigs away from their mothers, baby pigs really like a lot of warmth. So we turn the heater way up, and then we give them a very specialized diet that helps them transition from being on their mother's milk into actually eating, you know, a whole food.
And so what is a typical day like on your farm? What kinds of chores do you have to do? How many times do you check the pigs? Those kinds of things.
So Kim, that's one of the unique things that we have going here. I'm actually going to turn the mic over to Emily because she's the one that takes care of stuff on a day-to-day basis. I actually work off the farm, so I only get to interact with the pigs, you know, in early morning sometimes if I can get out of bed, or for sure when I get home from work. But Emily knows the day-to-day chores way more than I do.
Okay, guys, so a normal day, we get up and we feed the pigs. So that includes everything is bucket fed. So we carry around like a 5-gallon bucket full of feed, and everybody gets fed, all of the sows, all the mama pigs, they get fed by a bucket. The sows only get fed once a day, while the growing pigs, they get to eat as much as they want. So their feeders get filled as needed, but the sows only get X amount, which is about 5 pounds per day. So after we feed the pigs, you go through and you pay attention to what's going on. You want to see if they're happy, if they're healthy, if they need some special attention, if they're sick, that sort of thing. If they're eating well, it's a lot of paying attention. And there's also a lot of cleaning that gets involved with pigs, because we all know the old saying that pigs are messy, but that's mostly because they enjoy mud so much. And they also like to break things. So a lot of time on the farm is spent fixing things that pigs have broken. So it's a lot of watching, paying attention to what the pigs need, and then fixing things that are broke. And at the end of the day, our wrap-up chores are to go through everything once again and just make sure that everything is getting all the care that they need. So there's a lot of attentive detail that you have to take notice of in pig farming. That's what a large amount of it is.
And these chores have to be done every day of the year, right? So you don't get to take a summer vacation or anything like that, right?
Yes, you are right. It is a 365 day of the year job. And you know, sometimes we don't control when the sows have their babies. So sometimes it's even a 24-hour-a-day job, because they could have their babies at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I need to be here watching out for them. So it's very much so every day. If we're gone for any reason, we have to have somebody to come and do chores and to look after the pigs. So it's, like I said, sometimes it's even 24 hours a day.
And you talked a little bit about feeding the pigs. Can you talk about what they eat?
Yeah. So I got to find somebody who's not ate all their feed yet. So this is what their feed looks like. It's kind of powdery, that you can tell, kind of like a flour sort of substance, but it's got a little bit more texture to it. And this ration right here is actually made out of soybean meal and grain sorghum, but we also use corn a lot of times for our feed. So on top of those two things, we we also have like special vitamins and minerals and amino acids that go into this feed. So it starts out as, if we use corn, it starts out as whole kernel corn, and it goes into a machine that we attach to our tractor, and it gets ground up really fine like this. And then it also mixes together with that the soybean meal and the all the vitamins and minerals and stuff that the pigs need to be happy and work the best, or to grow the best. So just like you guys might, look here, you can tell the difference. Like mine is the milo or the grain sorghum, and that one's corn. So it even has a visual difference as well, because we grind like a white milo. There's different types of grain sorghum, and this is a higher food quality grain sorghum. So yeah, just like you guys might take like vitamin chewable with supper or something, their vitamins that they need to be healthy pigs are in the feed that they eat every day.
And do you guys grow the grain that they eat, or do you get it from someone local?
We actually grow all of the milo and the corn that would go into our feed, and if we don't grow it, Kaden's parents grow it, so we buy it from them. And then on the soybean meal, it's a little bit different because it has to go through a special process before it can be better digested for the pig. So we don't grow the soybeans that's actually in our soybean meal that we feed the pigs, but farmers like us do. It comes from a local plant just within like an hour of here. So it's local farmers that grow that as well.
And what is the nutritional content in the grain that they eat? What do they get from those grains?
So the grain that they're eating, there's the two primary components by volume, as Emily discussed, is what we like to call a cereal grain, and then our protein source. So the cereal grain, as she talked about, we're feeding ground grain sorghum, or it can be ground corn, or in some cases even wheat. The main benefit of having that in the ration is the carbohydrates in it. It's an energy source, so we primarily feed those grains for an energy source for the pig. Now the soybean meal, as with most soy products or most bean products, is high in protein. So that's the most benefit that we're getting out of having that feed ingredient, is having the right protein amount in our diet that these pigs need. So just to kind of go into a little bit of what the size of the pig and what they're doing plays in, how it plays in on their diet. These sows, their ration is close to 5% fat and a fairly high percent protein, because their nutrient requirements are significantly higher, because they're trying to nurse all these babies and keep them healthy, and they're producing a lot of milk. Now, if she's not nursing, that energy requirement and the protein requirement goes down. She actually needs a lot less just to maintain and meet all of her daily requirements. Now, these baby pigs need a very, very high amount of protein. So as you might already know, and it holds true for the milk that we consume when we eat our breakfast, milk is very high in protein. So when these piglets are nursing on on the mothers, they're getting a very, very high protein, a very high quality protein meal, so that when we're ready to wean them, we need to replace that milk with something that is equally of high protein. So that's where that specialty ration comes in, where we're mixing, really good proteins for those baby pigs to be able to transition from milk to hard feed.
And what do you do if you have a pig get sick?
So if a pig gets sick, the first thing we do is analyze the symptoms. All right, so we've been farming long enough and involved with pigs long enough that we recognize a lot of symptoms of common flus and stuff like that, and we can kind of diagnose. If we can't diagnose, then the veterinarian or local vet is the first person we call, and we let them help us try and figure out why the pig is sick and the best cause or course of action to take to help it get better. You know, sometimes they might prescribe an antibiotic. Sometimes they might prescribe just a lower stress environment and make sure they've got plenty of access to food and water. Sometimes whatever they have, you can't treat it, and you just have to work your way through it. But it is a part of Emily's and I's routine chores is to make sure that we analyze every pig we've got on the place, so that if something starts showing symptoms of being sick, we take the appropriate action. You know, if we need to treat it, it gets treated, and if they're all doing healthy, then we're happy.
How many pigs do you have, and what types of pigs are they?
You want to answer that?
You can answer the first part.
Okay, so on the farm that we're at right now, the one that we raise pigs for kids to show at the county fair, we have about 30 mama pigs, or what we call sows, and you know, if we're at our peak season of getting them farrowed, we might have anywhere between 100 and 150 baby pigs, being born. And that season for us is typically in January and February. And just recently, we were able to market most of those pigs to go to county fairs. Now, at our other farm, the one that you've seen on the opening video, Emily takes care of about 80 sows there. And at any given point in time, we probably have close to 500 or 600 pigs on feed. So quite a difference. And obviously, there's differences in how we handle both farms, but the core of the day-to-day stuff is all the same. And it's making sure the pigs are cared for and have access to feed and water.
We had a couple questions come in ahead of time, and one of them is, how do you keep the pigs healthy?
So most of the battle of keeping pigs healthy is just making sure that their diet is meeting all of their nutrient requirements. So we've got a lot of kids out there that I'm sure like to drink pop and eat candy bars and eat potato chips. But you can imagine if you drink pop, eat candy bars, and eat potato chips for multiple weeks, you probably aren't going to feel very good because you're not getting the right nutrients that's required to keep you going forward. So 90% of our keeping pigs healthy is just making sure that they're getting the best feed that's right for them at their age, and making sure that they have access to water. And then thirdly, making sure that their environment is suited to make sure that it's low stress and that they're comfortable.
Oh, and can you explain to us what we're seeing on the floor?
So the orange mat that you're seeing is called a heat pad. It radiates heat, and that's why the piglets like to lay on it, is because, as Kaden said earlier, when they go into the nursery, it's over 90 degrees whenever they get moved to the nursery. So piglets like it hot, but sows can't. So the sort of compromise there is to give piglets extra warmth. And since we can't put blankets over them every time that they're falling asleep, we use a heat pad. So the orange thing is it's warm. And then there's also, people can use what they call heat lamps, which comes over the top. It goes from the top down and it radiates heat. There's a picture of a heat lamp. So they were actually, this pin was sick over the weekend and they need a little bit of extra warmth. So their heat pad is warm, and then they also have the added heat lamp for extra warmth. And then, so since we're talking about the ground there, you see that there's holes in the floors. Now, that's because when the piglets need to go to the bathroom, they aren't house trained like, you know, your dog would be, or potty trained like we would be. So whenever they go to the bathroom, it falls through those holes in the floor and it gets caught in a container underneath. And then at that point, we can collect it, and it's fertilizer. So we will collect it and actually go put it on our fields and use it as a fertilizer source.
All right, we're going to go to the classrooms and have them ask questions. So we will start with William Allen White.
How old is your oldest pig?
The question was, how old is your oldest pig?
Our oldest pig is maybe about 6 years old now. We keep around sows until they aren't doing the best that they can anymore. So if they're too large, like this lady, you see how large she is. It's better when they're a little bit smaller, and it's for the piglet safety, because a big sow is easier to hurt her piglet. So in our case, like I said, we just kind of keep them until they aren't as productive anymore. And then in other situations, like maybe on a larger farm, they might get rid of their sows when they're like a year or two old. It really depends on where you're at as to how old your pigs are going to be. Now, your normal market pigs that you take to market that you'll eat for your meat, they will be 6 or 7 months old when they get to the weight that is best for their meat.
Okay, Jefferson Elementary.
You have to talk into the microphone, babe. What are you going to ask her?
Do you have any teacup pigs?
No, we don't have any teacup pigs, but these guys stay teacup size for a week or two.
Rossville Grade School.
What type of pig breed do you have the most of?
Can you ask that again?
What type of pig breed do you have the most of?
What types of pigs do you have the most of?
Which breed do they have the most of?
So we're probably split 50-50 between the two farms. There's two breeds that we really like. The one of them is the Berkshire breed that I talked about earlier, and it's this black pig that Jody's zooming in on right now. We really, really like the Berkshire breed because their meat is phenomenal. So their meat is generally juicier and more flavorful than other breeds of pigs. So if you want a pork chop that just melts in your mouth, or bacon that you have to eat a pound of every time you eat it, that's why we like these Berkshire pigs. Now, the other breed that we have the most of is called a Yorkshire Sow. And their breed is all white with erect ears, kind of like this black pig is, but Yorks are completely white, and they're known for their mothering ability. So they generally have really large litters, and they can nurse them really, really well. So we kind of like a blend. We like very good mothers, and we also like pigs that taste good.
Deer Creek, Lamont.
How have advances in technology such as machinery, genetics, or chemicals affected your farm or competition with your farm?
Kim, can you repeat that?
Do you want to repeat that question, please? Dear Creek Lamont?
Have him say it a little bit slower. We're having a little difficulty hearing.
Okay. Could you just say it a little slower and a little louder?
How have advances in technology helped your farm?
How have advances in technology helped your farm?
Advances in technology over the years have significantly helped our farm. You'll notice, or if you can remember that little short video that Kim showed at the beginning, we've actually got the blends of both worlds in that video. So we're going back to about 1980 style production practices at that farm, and we're actually farrowing in pens. And we do that just because of the marketing program that we're in, and it allows the sows to have free access and the piglets to run. At that farm, we're also using electronic feeding stations. So each of the sows at that farm has an ear tag, or for people that don't know what an ear tag is, you could say an ear ring that has a computer chip in it. So when they walk up to the stall, the computer will read that chip, and the computer automatically knows how much that pig needs to eat. So Jody, if you want to, so this Burke sow has an ear tag in her ear, and it also has a computer chip on the underside of it. But that is one thing that's helped us out tremendously, is allowing a computer to do our chores, as it takes all the human error out of it for us, and we can make sure that each sow is getting fed to her individual requirements. Now, as far as this barn, I talked about 1980s production styles and outdoor farrowing. This barn is what a more modern farrowing house is going to look like, with slatted floors and farrowing crates that's built to provide safety for the baby pigs without, compromising a lot of qualities that we've had before. So we talked about the slats, we talked about heat pads, all of that's technology that's helped us. And then I think Jody's been showing you a picture of the aeration fans. That's to keep fresh air in here. In the hog business, we like to call it a negative pressure system. And I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I know, your class can probably understand some more of that stuff than the younger kids we've got with us. But the ventilation with fresh air and maintaining, making sure it gets spread out across the barn to where it needs to be, and making sure each sow and each litter has the absolute amount of comfort that we can provide them.
Thank you. Alta Brown Elementary.
How old can a healthy pig live in the wild and in the barn?
How long can a pig live both wild and in the barn?
Oh, that's a good question. Jody, do you know what the maximum lifespan of a pig is? I think I've heard some farms having pigs that get up to 10 or 12 years old, and those animals, they're very large by the time they get that big, and obviously, I think the productive level of an animal, especially in pigs, it really starts going down after 5 or 6 years. So, by the time that pig is 7 or 8 years old, it's really not reproducing. It's just it's eating enough to maintain or to continue on. But in the wild, pigs don't have a lot of natural predators, and if you've ever grabbed a baby pig from a mother sow, you'll notice that some of them are pretty protective of their young. So, it's not really the fact that something's going to thin them out. It's a lot of their nutritional requirements. Pigs in the wild have a hard time meeting all of their mineral and vitamin requirements because they're scavenging for food all the time. A pig probably has a significantly better chance living longer in a farm setting where somebody's there and able to provide them all of their daily requirements.
Okay, and our last question will come from Andover Central Middle School.
Have you ever had a spring fed that was the runt of the litter?
Could you repeat that, please?
have you ever had a spring pig that was the runt of the litter?
If you're asking if we have runts, yes, almost every litter will have some sort of a runt. Well, I don't know if
the little black pig in here is about as much of a runt as we've got in here right now. Really, you know, if the producer's doing the right thing and making sure that all the pigs have a chance to have the best chance at going forward, and a lot of that's on Emily, you know, in the first few days of their life. You know, in our earlier video tour, Emily talked a lot about her routines when she's farrowing sows out here, and it's getting those pigs dried off so they're dry and comfortable and not getting chilled too quickly. And then it's ensuring that every baby in the litter has access to the colostrum milk that a sow has in the first 24 to 36 hours. And if you do both of those things really well, you can really limit the amounts of runts and starving pigs that you might end up with.
Okay, well, that was all of the questions from our classrooms, and I think we're about out of time for today. So we want to thank our farmers for taking the time out to talk to us today. We also want to thank our sponsors, the Kansas Corn Commission, the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Pork Checkoff, and Kansas Foundation for Ag in the Classroom. Without them, we wouldn't be able to make these virtual field trips possible. And as we end the tour, if all of you classrooms can wave and give the farmers a big thank you to show them that we appreciate their time.
Thank you guys for joining us.
And we also want to thank all of the classrooms for joining us.